It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get out of pocket. I'm your host, Michael Davis. And yes, Out of Pocket is now 1 hour. It's officially extended Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays, 5:30 to 6:30. We listened to you, we heard you, and now we're doing it. So this is quite the time to do it. Of course, football kicks off today. So I didn't want to do this show by myself. So I brought in a good friend with a bad team, and we'll talk some Washington Commanders. Obviously, while he's on here, we got Mr. Aikman Chambers from the Blue Ridge Football Podcast. Aikman, how are you doing today, my friend?
Man, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for bringing me back on the show. We finally made it. We got our little taste of football with college last week, but now we're here. NFL kicks off tonight with Chiefs, Ravens, a full slate of games Sunday, and then we've got Brazil football tomorrow night with those birds that I don't even want to draw attention to, and the Packers, and then Monday night, Jets, 49ers. I'm stoked. It's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Also, he just mentioned the Packers-Eagles game. Carsen dropped his Lombardi Party today, actually, at a specials time of noon Eastern for you guys to give you a full Packers-Eagles preview before tomorrow night. And Carsen will be on the show a little later on with Aaron Schneider to talk some of the Chiefs-Ravens game a little later tonight. And you can also comment. This is why we do these live streams. And Wayne's already in here saying go Ravens, and wanted to touch on that Ravens game a little later on. But while we're on the subject, Aikman, how do you see this Chiefs Ravens game going? Who do you think wins this game tonight?
First of all, I think it's a great game to kick off the NFL season. I mean, Chiefs Ravens, this could be an AFC Championship game preview here tonight in week 1. I do believe that. Me personally, I'm picking the Ravens in this game. I think if you're going to catch Kansas City, catch them early. We've seen that tends to be when you could possibly catch them. I like getting the Chiefs early. I think Lamar, I think Derrick Henry, I think they're going to mesh well together because Derrick Henry's not going to have to be a workhorse the way he was in Tennessee the last few years. So I'm thinking Ravens here. I think the Ravens get it done.
And the Ravens fan, the chat, Wayne Thomas, he was on the nightcap last night with Mouthing Off with Mike. He's saying his team, the Ravens, beating them by a field goal. 4 Sides of the Ring in the comments, a really great wrestling podcast. If you haven't subscribed to their YouTube channel, I would go ahead and do so. They do incredible wrestling content. They even do this show Opinionade. It's a huge round table, and they just spout out their opinions and see who has the best one. And of course, they haven't invited me on yet because they know my opinion's always the best. We're going to bring in Aaron Carsen to talk about the Chiefs-Ravens game a little bit more, and we'll do those score predictions just like Wayne dropped in the comments. But Aikman, you and I don't like Philadelphia sports. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Eagles because none of our Eagles friends were brave enough to come on the show today about 24 hours before their game against the Green Bay Packers. But when you look at the NBA, there's a rumor going around that New Jersey wants an NBA team, and New Jersey specifically wants the Philadelphia 76ers to become their NBA team. And, dude, this has me racking my brain right now. Because I'm like, hey, should New Jersey even have a second chance at an NBA team after we saw what the Nets did? And then even the other side, the flip coin, is should the NBA leave a sports town? As much as I hate them, they're a pretty big sports town. Should the NBA leave Philly? Dude, there's too many layers to this. Help me uncover it all.
Yeah, this is tough. Obviously, a connection here is Josh Harris, who now owns the Washington Commanders. He owns the Philadelphia 76ers, too. But this is odd to me because I was one of those people who I understand why the Nets relocated in the first place when they did to go to Brooklyn. Jay-Z played a big role in that with his ownership stake in the team and in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. But I never thought trying to compete head-to-head for fandom in New York with the Knicks was a smart move long-term because the Knicks are the Knicks. They're one of those pillar franchises when you think of the NBA. They're one of the first teams that pops in your head, along with the Celtics and the Lakers and the Bulls. I mean, the Knicks are right up there. And so I also can't imagine the NBA without the Philadelphia 76ers either. The Jersey 76ers, the New Jersey 76ers, it doesn't have the ring to it the way that Philadelphia does. But when you're ponying up the amount, I saw today where it was like $400 million in tax breaks that New Jersey's willing to give the 76ers to lure them away. I mean, when you start throwing money out there in tax breaks, anything is possible, as we've seen in today's sports climate.
And Aikman, here's the issue I have. Like, they probably don't even stay with the name the 76ers, because the whole reason this team was named the Philadelphia 76ers was because the U.S. signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia in 1776. So, and also the Nets are taken because they left New Jersey for Brooklyn, because they're like, this not going to happen. I don't see this going well. Plus, I don't know about you, but rather than New Jersey, I'd much rather see a new NBA team in Seattle. Give us the Sonics back.
Give us the Sonics before moving back to New Jersey. I mean, I would be happy. I would rather see a team, Seattle. I think you could even make a case to even try Vancouver again over New Jersey, just in my opinion. Just to go, because I think the NBA eventually wants to grow an international footprint through Canada, with so many Canadian players that are in the league now compared to when the Grizzlies came in the first time around in Vancouver. So I don't know. I know there's an old ABA team, the New Jersey Americans from back in the day. Maybe they go that route if they move and they choose to revive the old ABA brand of the New Jersey Americans, but it's odd. At the end of the day, I think Philadelphia ponies up to keep the 76ers because, I mean, the Eagles, the 76ers, the Flyers, I mean, they're all connected in Philadelphia, like cornerstones and pillars that you think of when you think of those respective pro leagues, the Phillies as well. Like the Philadelphia teams, because of the market and because of the history, they're automatically one of the first teams you think of, whether you like it or not.
Oh, absolutely. Like, again, I hate Philadelphia with a passion, but if there was not that Philadelphia fan base with one of our four major sports, like if the Eagles were to leave, if the Phillies were to leave, if the Flyers were able to leave, like it would feel weird. It feel like something missing. Dude, we share a brain, said the same thing. Philadelphia 1776. Hey, that means you're I got your genetics, I got your brain or whatever. Max saying pizza plus beer plus football equals let's go. And I say let's go ahead and get into the comments when it comes to football, the football side. Football finally kicks off now. And Aikman, I know you've heard this way too many times. The Washington Commanders, potentially, people wanting them to change their name back to the Washington Redskins. And there's a petition going around saying, hey, the Redskins name actually is a heritage. It's a homage to the actual Native Americans. Dude, you're a Washington fan. I don't know if you've claimed. I mean, I see your jersey right there. It says Redskins. I don't know if you've even claimed them as the Commanders, even though you still root for those ugly colors.
I have a Commanders jersey in my closet. I was debating on which one to put on for the show today, and I just decided to go with this. But here's the thing. It's not going to happen. Will there be a rebrand? Yes. The Commanders will not be here for the long haul. There will be a rebrand, but it will not be the Washington Redskins again. It's not going to happen. Josh Harris has even said in his press conference dating up to the last preseason game against New England before when he had a press conference, and he said it's not going to happen. He said it can't come back. And I think when your owner says that, I think he knows the climate of marketing and sponsorships, because you got to have sponsors, you got to have these deals in place with businesses, whether it's stadium naming rights, whether it's beer sponsors, whatever it may be, the NFL teams use to make money. as much as I would love to see it, because it's one of the best logos in sports history, because it's been around and it went relatively unchanged for so many years. It's just one of those logos you knew who that team was without there being any Woodmark name or anything else. You saw that logo and you knew, oh, that's Washington. I mean, they were synonymous with that logo. But the sad part is, no, it's not going to happen. I think the name fell victim to Dan Schneider. It was more so, can we push Schneider out? And the way to do this is to threaten by getting the name done away with first, that it would push him out, which eventually that was the beginning to the end of his era. And so it's one of those things, if that is the cost of getting him out the door and now having competent ownership in the building that knows how to run an NFL franchise, I'm okay with it. Do I like it? No, I don't. But I also know that Commanders won't be here long term. I would go out on a limb and say within the next 5 years, 5 to 6 years, whenever they're looking for a new stadium to be built and open back up, which they've got a target date of 2030, chances are they don't play in a new stadium, whether that's back in D.C., Virginia, Maryland, wherever it may be. They will not play their first game in a new stadium under the name Commanders, is my prediction.
Well, I mean, we just talked about the Philadelphia 76ers potentially leaving a historic sports team. Do you want the Washington Commanders, or whatever they would call themselves at that point? We'll just dub them the football team, since we don't know what they call.
I actually didn't mind the football team. It grew on me a little bit. It just, I don't know. I just loved how we had numbers on the helmets, very old school, just nothing spectacular over the top. If I could have it a certain way, I wouldn't mind Warriors to be able to use some of the imagery as a call to the past to honor it. If we could get away with something like that, I think Warriors or something like that would be my choice. I was one of those people, I thought Red Wolves was cool when that was going around as a possible name. Any way you can use, and I agree with Wayne. I actually see his comment. I mean, the football team grew on me. It was unique. It was our thing. But if we could find a way to incorporate some Native American imagery into what we have in the future, if we can't use the Redskins name, that's my thing. If we could find a way to use some semblance of the logo, whether it's the spear with the feather, if we can use the old Indian head, then albeit, but if we could use it by saying Warriors instead of Redskins, I'm totally down with that. Just some way to get past connected better, because Dan Quinn's doing a wonderful job connecting the past with the present. He's done better than any coach, I think, that we could have had, because he's constantly blended the two together constantly since he's come in the door. And we've had old players back. You saw him wearing the T-shirt, was the Commander's W with the feather off to the side, which I thought was a pretty cool thing. Just that little, it's crazy how adding that little feather made the logo that much better. But that's just my thought. I just think that if we can find some way to resonate with the past fan base with something new, if it can't be Redskins, let's get close.
Well, and maybe that's a compromise that the organization makes there in the long term. But, dude, I don't know, marketing standpoint, it would be hard to be Washington Commanders and then, in a few years, we're changing the name again. If it's not, kind of compromising between the two, just from a marketing standpoint. But we've talked a little bit about your team. I gave you that promise. We talk about the Washington Commanders. Let's talk about the rest of this NFC East, because it's a stacked division. We talked about it a little bit the last time you were here, but now the season's here. The Eagles start their season tomorrow. The Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders start it later this weekend. And all of these teams are pretty on the media market right now. The Giants aren't expected to do any good, but people are, bashing Daniel Jones any chance they get, questioning, is Brian Daboll the best option in New York. And then you have Washington, where you have a new head coach in Dan Quinn. You have a rookie quarterback in Jay Daniels. What can they do? And then you have Philadelphia, who started to crash late last season. Can they bounce back? And then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who their entire offseason has been focused on re-sign CeeDee Lamb, re-sign Dak Prescott. Dak still, as of this minute, has not re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys. And they're like, oh, can they get over the hump? Can they get over the hump? Can they win playoff games? Like, all four of these NFC East teams have something to prove. Who do you think actually needs to have the best season possible?
Honestly, it depends on the lens you're looking at. If you're looking at from a contract perspective, it's the Cowboys, because you've got Dak sitting there. You know Micah Parsons is going to get paid next offseason. That's a given. You're going to extend him and make him the top paid defensive player in football.
Easy.
I mean, it's not even going to be close. But now, if we're talking just overall pressure, it's the Eagles. It is the Eagles that have the most pressure from an overall standpoint, because they've got to prove that the relationship between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts can actually work. The way they fell apart at the end of last season was rough. They fell apart, and then that playoff showing, they didn't even show up for that game against Tampa Bay in the wild card of the playoffs. I mean, Baker Mayfield had a game against the Eagles in the wild card, and so to me,
dude, that was an easy layup. Like, people keep complaining about the Cowboys Packers, dude. The Bucks, Baker, really?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the way the Eagles fell apart, they have the most to prove, because when you look across that offense, they're loaded everywhere. I mean, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside, Jalen Hurts, Saquon. I mean, there is so much talent on the offensive side of the football for the Eagles. I think overall they have the most pressure overall to succeed, because everybody's looking at them as because if you look at predictions across the board, 9 out of 10 places have them pick first.
Well, and I picked the Eagles first when I was doing the Dad and the Boys podcast, and I have been disowned. So if anyone wants to throw in adoption papers, please let me know. I'm a free agent. I might return to my former household, but we'll test the free agency market. No, we'll have another Dad and the Boys episode drop in tomorrow afternoon, previewing the Cowboys-Browns game. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be super exciting. And then when you look at what this season holds, there's 18 weeks, there's 17 games. Like, teams, how they perform this weekend isn't entirely an indicator of how they're going to perform the entire year. Aikman, I feel like it may be a little bit unfair. And of course, we'll probably get on Monday and, start jabbing at some teams. But, just people keep it in mind, like, hey, the season's longer than 1 week.
It is. But, from an individual player standpoint, yes, people point at Dak because the contract. Point to the contract, and maybe the player under the single most pressure in the division this year is Daniel Jones, because he's making bank, and it's been shown that the Giants did everything they could to trade up and try to get a quarterback in this draft, which means, and this is just a bold prediction, maybe a hot take, Drew Lock starts by week 8 this season. Drew Lock will be inserted as a starting quarterback. I have no faith in Daniel Jones. I mean, why have faith in Daniel Jones? Outside of his only games that he's played good in his careers against us, I mean, that's the only thing. He plays Washington great. If they could line up and play us every week, the Giants might have a chance at running the table. But outside of that, like, literally, I don't know. I'm not a Daniel Jones fan.
You're not a Daniel Jones guy. I mean, I could make a joke about Kay Adams being a Daniel Jones guy, but I guess I just did. Who knows? Also, Mac, drop in the comments. Adopted. I can't talk today. Adoptable, but not cheap. That is true. I drive a high price. highest bidder, the bidding war of 2024 is here for myself. Adopt me. We'll start a whole campaign and everything. Wayne saying Vanilla Vic bounce back season. Dude, I don't know, man. It would be, by the way, calling him Vanilla Vic is out of pocket in of itself. Wayne, just FYI. No comparison whatsoever.
That's disrespectful to Michael Vick, but I mean, that's just, yeah. Oh, Vanilla Vic. Wow. I've never heard that one before.
And Derek, we're talking about other good wrestling pages. Derek's Wrestling Toys and Tees. The amount of memorabilia he has, I would love to compare our collections one day. He says Daniel Jones is just another semi-running quarterback who throws interceptions. I mean, he's not wrong.
No, not at all. Again, go look at the career numbers. He only plays well against Washington. Some of the best games in his career have been against us. It never fails. So, I mean, maybe that adds to my reasoning for my disdain of Daniel Jones, but,
And what does that say about Washington, that Daniel Jones?
That we've been terrible defensively the last few years. That's exactly what it says, because we have. Like, outside of our defensive line, I mean, we've been terrible defensively. That's why I have better hopes this year after the addition of Quinn and Joe Witt from Dallas and Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner and company.
Yeah, you got Joe Witt from Dallas. You mentioned that, but you didn't take Al Harris. So
no, that was also a get we tried to get but couldn't come through with that one.
So I'm glad Al Harris has stayed with the star on his helmet. But Aikman, while I have you here for the next few minutes before we welcome in Aaron and Carsen to talk more football, also talk about fantasy football a little bit and give people an update on our fantasy football league that obviously starts tonight. In addition to the Chiefs-Ravens game, let's run through these games and see who you think wins. We got one of them being, if my computer is doing pretty good, don't know.
Gotta love technology when you're live, man. That's what happens when you're live. It's wonderful.
And you can still hear me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can you see me at all?
Yes.
Dude, we're going to run with it. I can't see anything on my screen right now. That's funny. We'll run this until we can't run it anymore, and just tell me when you can't hear me. Aikman, what Packers Eagles, Carsen did his Lombardi Party episode this afternoon. Who do you got in that game?
I tell you, this is a game. I think it's going to be a fun game in Brazil tomorrow night. I think a lot of people obviously on the Eagles, and my heart wants to see Green Bay get it done just because I hate saying Philadelphia is my pick for anything. But just looking at it for week one purposes, Philadelphia has so much to prove. They know it's imperative that they get off to a good start because Howie Roseman is the type of guy that if this thing gets off to a rocky start and 6 weeks in, they're under 500, Sirianni may be out of a job just because Howie Roseman doesn't pull any punches, especially with how last season ended. So I'm going to go with the Eagles just because I think this is a more important game for them out of the gate because they have the pressure to get off to a good start.
And Jordan Love just got paid.
That's it. He's happy now. He got what he wanted.
Dude.
So Packers fans, you're married to him. I hope he works out because I don't know who in the Packers organization sold their soul to the devil in 1995 when it come to quarterbacks for the next 30 years. But if he hits on the trajectory that he's been on, nobody solved the quarterback position better than the Green Bay Packers over the last 30 years from a consistency standpoint, from one all-pro to another.
I mean, to be fair, when you go for Favre to Rodgers, that's the consistency people talk about. So hitting 2 for 2, but they also drafted other quarterbacks that were like meh to mid. That was one of them. We're operating, dude. I can't see you all right now. If people are dropping stuff in the comments, as soon as I figure out the technical difficulties. I'll fix those. But the Vikings do not start JJ McCarthy, obviously out for the year. So it's going to be Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones, and perhaps the biggest matchup of the entire week, honestly, of the entire season. If you don't watch any other game, you got to watch Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones.
I mean, the quarterback gurus are wanting their popcorn and large sodas for this one, because that's exactly what it is. To me, this is the toughest game, one of the toughest games to pick this week, because it can literally go either way. I'm going to lean Minnesota simply because they have Justin Jefferson on their side. If Darnold can just remotely get Jefferson the football, let him go to work, I'll take the proven commodity over the rookie who we've yet to see in real live action in the game that matters. I think Malik Neighbors is going to be really good. I think that was a good pick, but I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one. But I think this is one of those super close, like I'm talking 24-21 types of games. The only thing that worries me, the Giants do have a really good defensive front across that line now with Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, the counter to that is the Vikings do have a pretty decent offensive line. But so I'm going to lean Minnesota just because, again, they have Justin Jefferson if Darnold can get him the ball.
I guess Mac just threw the prediction out. 7 weeks in, Kellen Moore going to be the Philadelphia Eagles coach. That's wild. That's wild. I'm going to go Minnesota with that one. You don't know how Malik Neighbors is going to do, but you know how Justin Jefferson's going to do. And you still have TJ Hawkins and you still have Aaron Jones. I feel like they'll be able to supplement Sam Darnold against a weaker team. Your team, the Washington Commanders, your game this weekend is in Tampa Bay. So all the trash you just talked about, Baker, do your Commanders come through?
As much as I would love to see it happen, I've got a realistic expectation here where I think it's a competitive game. And honestly, I think it's a relatively high-scoring game because neither team has really good corners on the outside. That's the weak point of the Tampa defense, and that's the weak point of our defense. I think Jaden Daniels is able to show some things to be really good, but I could see this game being a 34-31, 34-28 type of ball game. I just think that offensively, from a receiver weapon perspective, Tampa Bay obviously is a lot deeper with Evans and Godwin and Trey Palmer and some of those guys. I would love to see Washington win this game. I really would. But realistically speaking, I just think Tampa Bay's better than we are, but I think we can have a good showing and at least set the stage for getting better in the weeks to come.
And dude, when I look at this game, you know what? Give me Washington. There's always this shock value when a rookie quarterback starts week one. I'm going to take Jane Daniels over Baker Mayfield. And for the Cowboys game, the Cowboys go into Cleveland. Max saying, "Let's go Bucks." His line's drawn in the sand right there. Cowboys go into Cleveland. What do you think happens this weekend?
I tell you, it's going to be a good game. I said how tough to pick the Giants Vikings game was. This one's right there with it, because you don't know what version of Deshaun Watson you're getting. You have no idea what you're getting out of him. What will the Dallas running game be like? With Ezekiel Elliott, I know they signed Dalvin Cook. What will that look like? Obviously, there's the CeeDee Lamb effect now that he got his contract and everything else. I know he's still on the exempt list or whatever, but I think we can all agree that he's going to be coming off of that probably by tomorrow. I don't see a scenario where he stays on that, but Cleveland's defense, those Jim Schwartz defenses, man, they're tough. This is one of the better defensive units in the NFL. I mean, they have got some disruptors between Myles Garrett, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I mean, Denzel Ward on the outside. I mean, they've got some guys on this defense that are really good. I think this is, again, another one of those field goal. I just saw the comment. Another one of those field goal games. And I'm actually going to lean Dallas in this game. I think if it comes down to a field goal, I like the leg of Brendan Aubrey better than I do Dustin Hopkins, because Aubrey's shown us just how well and how far he can kick the football. So I'm going to lean the Cowboys here, but it's also one Dak Prescott interception away from being a Cleveland Brown victory.
This interception agenda needs to stop. Over the last couple years, dudes was second in MVP voting last year. After, a couple years ago, he did throw a lot of interceptions and then cleaned it up last year. And we'll consider that interception year an anomaly. But for Cowboys Browns, I got Dad and the Boys tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern. I'll drop my prediction along with my dad, Mac. Aikman, we gotta get you out of here, man. Blue Ridge Football Podcast, anywhere you guys can go, audio platforms, go follow, subscribe, like, whatever you can do to support this guy. Obviously has a voice for radio a little bit better than mine. A little bit jealous, but at least I have better sports team taste. Aikman, it was great having you on today.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. On my way out the door again, you can check out the Blue Ridge Football Podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, go on there and like and share. I put it on social media every week as well. And last thing, before I head out, go Mountaineers this weekend. Death Valley, do what App State does. Step up to the plate in these big games. Pull us out a W. Upset Dabo and the boys in Clemson even more.
Oh, absolutely. We're definitely going to be talking App, Clemson, and other college football games tomorrow. It's going to be quite the fun time. Wayne had a great time listening to you, Aikman. Always good stuff. Can't wait to see you back on here. We're going to let Aikman head on out, and we're about to bring in a couple guys to talk some fancy football, maybe some trash talk, and then we'll talk this Chiefs-Ravens game. So it's about to be an awesome. Hold on. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I thought I was the producer, but it looks like I just got hit with breaking news. Okay. Cool. Yep. Yep. Sorry, guys. This is live. This is what you get for being live. All right. So we just got a video package from somebody, and we're going to play this because apparently it is breaking news. So we'll be right back after this news.
What's up, guys? Breaking news. Matt Chapman signs a 6-year extension worth $151 million. So that equals out to roughly $25 million a year. And this makes sense because he's had a super productive year, hitting 22 home runs and slugging .445. He also leads all third basemen in WAR at 6. So he's right around the same level as Ohtani, who's at 7. And Francisco Lindor right behind him. And Lindor is about to finish behind Ohtani for NL MVP voting. So this is interesting because Alex Bregman is really the only other big free agent now at the third base position because it's a super weak class for third baseman. And Matt Chapman had an opt-out, so now he's off the market. Clearly, he just got his contract locked down. So now Bregman, I'm interested to see if Houston tries to pay him or if they're just going to go let him walk at his age. I think he's about 31 or something. I could be wrong. The Giants clearly are not making the playoffs this year, mainly because even if they went on a run, they wouldn't be able to because the Padres and the Diamondbacks have been on such a great run, and I think the wild card will definitely be one of, if not both of those teams. But the Giants have a lot of young guys that are still under club control for a long time. Heliot Ramos, Tyler Fitzgerald, Mike Yastrzemski. So I think this is a long-term build thing. He's a great third baseman. He's arguably the best defensive third baseman in the league, and I think it was a great idea by the Giants to keep him on that side of the bay, and I'm interested to see how the division goes.
Well, thank you, Chris, for that baseball update. Didn't have a baseball segment today, but Matt Chapman did re-sign with the San Francisco Giants. That's a good chunk of change right there. 6 years, $151 million deal that Matt Chapman signed to stay in San Francisco. Chris, appreciate you being our baseball guy, giving us a little, debrief for the dugout. And we got Andrew in the comments. Andrew, thank you for watching. Nationals are win the World Series. Lock it in. I don't know. That feels like a stretch. I don't like Washington sports. We just had Aikman Chambers on, but obviously Andrew likes some baseball content. Maybe we can provide you guys with more baseball content coming here soon. So if you want it, drop it in the comments saying you want it, and I'll try my best to make it happen. But tonight we start the Thursday night football, Chiefs, Ravens, but we also start fantasy football. And we promised you guys we would keep you updated. And so welcoming in first from the Lombardi Party, he just dropped his podcast today at a special time of noon. We got Carsen. Carsen, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing good, Michael. We dropped Lombardi Party today. I thought it was a good episode. I've had a couple people text me and say it's the best episode yet. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it and let me know what you think. Hopefully we can keep this train rolling.
Dude, well, best of luck with your Packers this weekend on Friday night because y'all are playing the Eagles. And then we got a guy who has some other breaking news a little later on. You're going to have to stay on just a tad bit longer to find out what he's cooking up on Boom Broadcasting. But we got Aaron Schneider with representing App State with those colors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had to do it. We're not talking any college football tonight, but big game for App State Saturday night against Clemson, so you gotta represent.
Big game. You got to represent. That's the only way we do. Mouthing off with Mike also joining us, talking about good wrestling channels. We had Four Sides of the Ring in the comments. We had Derek's Wrestling Toys and Tees in the comments. Now we got Mouthing Off with Mike in the comments as well. He's Bubba, I break your backs in fantasy football. He says he's winning the leagues. Ain't no shot. There ain't no shot. Aaron, you got some fans in the comments. Let's go. Holds the records for the most out-of-pocket takes. We love you, Aaron. And they messed up their heart because that's the updated fix of the heart. Mazden, App State clearing Clemson 100-0. I would certainly hope so, but I can't even do that in my college football game. So that's my thing. Wayne also commenting, oh, look, my week 1 fantasy opponent and first victim, Aaron. Good of you to have him on before he's completely deflated. Aaron, dude, you play Wayne in both our redraft and our dynasty leagues. Do you have any response to this?
You know what? I'm just going to let him talk. My team can do the talking for me. I don't need to talk. I'm glad that in both leagues I get such an easy matchup for week 1 so that I can start my redemption tour on a high note.
Oh, he's talking the redemption tour. He unfortunately came up short in the playoffs last year to one in the championship. Oh, I wasn't going to rub salt in the wound, but I mean, if you're going to do it, I mean, I'll bounce off of it. Andrew saying Aaron's been taking nonstop shots as soon as he came on. Ooh. Oh, Wayne's dropping clown emojis? Dude. Aaron, this is why I didn't invite you and Wayne on at the same time. I knew you guys would be going.
Oh, you should have. It would have been amazing.
It was going to go back and forth. Basden still on this App State upset, going to give the Aggies PTSD this weekend. That would be fantastic, especially beating A&M. And College Station's not an easy place to play at all whatsoever in no shape or form. And Notre Dame actually beat Texas A&M last week. But guys, let's get into this fantasy football because Carsen, you also have a fantasy football matchup this week. Really want to focus more on the redraft because there's more stakes on the line with that one. Wanted to update on matchups. And Carson, you have in this league, you have Mr. Sean Lucas, who stopped by a little bit earlier. Carson, it looks like as of now, you're still starting Baker Mayfield against Washington. You got Najee, Gus Edwards, you got Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua, and Sam Laporta and Jalen Waddle. You got George Kittle on your bench. Good dude. You got a lot of pass catchers on your team.
I mean, that's where the points come in. That's where you're getting the points. We can talk about my team. We know how great they are. We know how great Puka Nacua is. We know how great Kittle is. We know how great these are. I want to talk about Sean's team. He's got a pretty good team on paper. He's got Jalen Hurts, who is going to regress, and he's playing Green Bay's massively improved secondary. He's got Saquon, who is going to regress. He's going to get less touches because of Jalen Hurts, because of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Plus, he's aging, and he's playing Green Bay's improved rushing defense. You guys can go check out Lombardi Party to see my whole take on the Eagles-Packers game tomorrow. Also, Joe Barry is gone, and that is just something to praise. That's something that we can all rejoice in. Joe Barry is gone. He's got Stephon Diggs. Diggs is going to be competing with Collins and Tank Dell. He might be the third most targeted in this group. And he's just a diva. He's not a good locker room player, and that's going to hurt his production. He's got Amari Cooper, who I actually like a lot, except Deshaun Watson is throwing him the ball, and Deshaun Watson is absolutely cooked. He's garbage. He's trash. Plus, they're playing Dallas's defense, who, Michael, to your credit, Dallas has a pretty good defense this year. Not against Packers in the playoffs, but they got a pretty good defense. Mark Andrews belongs in a retirement home. He's so old, and he's going to get less targets with Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers. Plus, they're playing this Chiefs defense. Austin Eckler, I've never liked him. He's washed. And they're playing Tampa Bay, who has had the fourth best rushing defense last season by rushing yards per game. And we can talk all about this. I just laid it out for you. But the truth is, Sean is just too busy watching Brother Bear and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for his show It Stinks. He's not worried about fantasy football. He's rating TV shows. So this isn't going to be hard. I'm going to get the win.
Dang, he brought the heat. Oh my goodness. Sean, if you're still watching, he's a busy guy. Sean might be too hurt in the YouTube comments right now. After that roasting session. Speaking of roasting sessions, I got Esteban in our league. That's going to be a piece of cake. Even though, I mean, he's got some good people you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. He's got Patrick Mahomes. He's got Isaiah Pacheco. He doubled down on those Kansas City guys. He's got Rashad White. Tyreek Hill is scary. Nico Collins, very scary, depending on if he actually gets the ball thrown to him with all the targets in Houston with Aaron Schneider's guy, CJ Stroud. But, guys, I got Caleb Williams. I got Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry playing this tonight against the Chiefs. He's going to do awesome. Josh Jacobs against the Eagles, he better do awesome. I got the best receiver in fantasy football, Justin Jefferson. I got the best tight end in fantasy football, Travis Kelce, and Xavier Worthy, DJ Moore, Brandon Aubrey, best kicker in the fantasy football and the NFL. Dude, this is a cake walk. I cannot wait.
Real quick, Justin Jefferson is great, but his one defect is he has Sam Darnold throwing him the football. Mm-hmm. It is going to take an act of God for Justin Jefferson to be as great as he has been, purely based on the fact that Sam freaking Darnold is throwing him the football.
Well, I think I could go both ways, Aaron. It's either, he's the only target right now. Like, it's either hand the ball to Aaron Jones or give Justin Jefferson the ball right now. I mean, what else are they going to do? Sam Darnold isn't going to create anything he's got.
He's great, but defenses are going to know that he's going to be the only target. They're going to key into that, and I just don't think that we're going to see some crazy game out of Jefferson.
Well, you also forget he's playing the New York Giants. That's a thing. So,
True.
I mean, yeah,
That's
you're
your
having.
saving grace for week 1 is that the Giants are trash.
I mean, it's going to be awesome. But to tell everybody who's facing who in other matchups, we got Joseph Camperman versus Mouthing Off with Mike. You got Jackson versus John. Jackson and John, the two Outta Pocket originals. You got Ben versus Shannon, the two 49er guys. I mean, this is in addition to our matchups we mentioned, this is literally. Oh, and Joseph and Mike are both Eagles guys. Like, this worked out so perfectly for a week 1, and I didn't touch it as the commish. I didn't touch it, which was awesome. But yeah, that's what's going to happen for the fantasy football. We'll keep you guys updated, so you want to follow us on our social medias. You also want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're having a great time, just like Andrew, everybody knows Scary Terry is wide receiver 1. Dude, Scary Terry has been underrated in these fantasy drafts. Wayne, if Garrett Wilson can have 1,000 seasons with Zach Wilson, Justin Jefferson will be just fine.
That's true.
Mac and Bazin on the Clemson train, 2 weeks in Clemson, still seeking first touchdown this season. Hopefully that doesn't come this weekend. Bazin saying Clemson going to keep seeking a win 2 weeks in. Chris, by the way, who showed up for our big baseball news that happened about midway through this show, says Scary Terry is a top 3 route runner. And
take it easy with top 3. That's kind of crazy, top 3. I mean, you got Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson. I mean, I don't think he's top 3, but go on.
I mean, that's a tough take. Maybe Outta Pocket, if you will. Wayne saying I'm taking the over the kitchen this week. Going to give you a much needed break. I'm the cook now. You'll be back week 2. Dude, this is wild.
Look, he's just a cook. I'm the chef. Okay, let's get this straight. He's just the cook.
Dude, he's just the cook and you're the head chef, dude. Well, we want to get some news here as well with Aaron coming up, depending on whenever I decide to bring it up. But wanted to talk Chiefs Ravens, kick off the NFL season tonight, and both of these teams, there is good reason to think that they will both be in the AFC Championship game if healthy. There's good cause to think that one of these teams could be in the Super Bowl. That's my take. So my question is, the Chiefs are wanting to do something no team in NFL history has done and three-peat as Super Bowl champions. The Ravens looking to get over that hump with the addition of Derrick Henry to pair up with Lamar Jackson. Carson, I'll let you go first. Do you think the Chiefs or the Ravens have the best chance to make the Super Bowl?
I think it has to be the Chiefs, right? I mean, they're better than they were last year, and they won the Super Bowl. And the Ravens, I think they got a little bit worse with the loss of Patrick Queen. They just lost some key pieces. I know they got Derrick Henry, and that offense is going to be unstoppable. I'm excited to watch it. But I think the Chiefs just got better. They drafted Xavier Worthy. They got Hollywood Brown, who's hurt right now, but he'll be out there. Rashee Rice, I think, is a bona fide number one receiver in this league. So yeah, I think that the Chiefs, they got a little bit worse on defense, losing Ladarius Sneed, and that matters. But overall, I just think it's more complete than they were last year. I would argue that it's the most complete team that Patrick Mahomes has ever had. I'm not saying it's the best because he had Tyreek Hill, but in terms of offense plus defense and putting it together, I think that might be the most complete team he's ever had. So I think it's going to happen. I think he's going to three-peat. I called for it on X earlier today. I can't go against Patrick Mahomes anymore. Like, it feels more inevitable than Tom Brady did. Like, I don't know if we couldn't beat him, and I say we as in the entire NFL. If we couldn't beat him last year, I don't know how we're going to beat him this year.
Well, that'll be tough. Carson, you've never sounded better, by the way. And what a still shot. Can we like snapshot that and give him a new profile picture?
I don't know what's happening. I got new internet. Like I feel like the quality is better. That's why maybe I sound better. I don't know. But I think it's my computer that just keeps freezing me up. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah, dude.
Those Beasley Lab computers, man.
Man, dude, I will say this. I ran to my first technical difficulty today. I was like scrambling. I'm like producing and running all these graphics, and I'm getting this breaking news video package during the show. It was wild. I was like, oh no, my computer's crashing. Now I can't see everybody. And Aikman's like, yeah, I can see you and hear you. I'm like, okay, good. I didn't take that break to pick my nose, or what I did earlier this week. I started undressing thinking we were only 30-minute show. Now we're an hour long, as you can see, 5:30, 6:30, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow. But Aaron, before we get into tomorrow, we got to get into tonight. Chiefs, Ravens, who do you think has the best chance to make the Super Bowl of these two teams?
I'm going to have to agree with Carson. It's impossible to bet against Patrick Mahomes unless you're just trying to be a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian. This Chiefs team is so well balanced, as he said earlier. They're the Super Bowl favorites by a mile. That's the Basden and Andrew. Those are two of my friends from back in Boone, and Wednesday's my cat is what's happening.
Oh, yeah. We need Wednesday QB1. That will we need that. We need that.
It might be a better QB than Sam Darnold, honestly.
You said it, not me.
This Chiefs team is so great. They're the Super Bowl favorites by a mile, in my opinion. I don't really think it's a competition. The only reason I might pick against them is purely based on the fact that a three-peat hasn't happened, and that's something that's really hard to do. So that's the only reason that I would pick against them at any point later into the postseason.
Well, and no team has done it, especially in the modern era of like getting to back Super Bowls. And sometimes like it's just the ball not bouncing your way. Sometimes it's just teams figuring you out. You have an off day. Like every team has an off day. I do think the Chiefs are by far the best team in the NFL, but if I said the best chance to just make the Super Bowl, not always the best team makes the Super Bowl. I know that sounds contrary to what the media tells you, but there have been a lot of good teams knocked out the Super Bowl. There's been probably better teams who have lost the Super Bowl because just the given day things didn't go their way. The Patriots should have never lost to the Giants back in 2007. Like the perfect NFL team can lose at the playoffs, and especially fatigue. Fatigue's a huge thing. And so I'm not a contrarian, but I'll put my money on the Ravens. I feel and Wayne will agree with me on here, dude. The Ravens are a threat right now with Lamar, with Derrick Henry, and they're bringing it in tonight on the game. And so I'm going to go even a step further. Not only do the Ravens have a better chance to make the Super Bowl this year, but Carson, I'm going to go ahead and say the Ravens win tonight's game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's going to be 27-23.
Well, I actually agree with you there. I do think the Ravens are going to win tonight. I know it sounds a little backwards. Let me explain. The Chiefs are with a new receiving group outside of Rashee Rice and Tyreek Hill, so I think there's going to be a little bit of growing pains there. It's hard to just be in midseason form week one. It's hard. It is hard. There's always like a little period where you got to get back in your groove, especially when you're throwing to new receivers. Baltimore doesn't have that problem, and they brought in Derrick Henry, running backs are a little different, especially power running backs. That strength doesn't really go anywhere. So I think that the Ravens just have the better formula to win tonight with that defense, with Lamar Jackson being a rushing quarterback. And then you got Derrick Henry. I agree with you. But I do have to say, I think you're out of pocket here, Mike. I know that you're saying that it's all it takes is one wrong move, but how many wrong moves happened on the Chiefs last year? How many dropped balls did Kadarius Toney have alone? Like, there's no way MVS, like, there's no way that the Chiefs offense is getting worse. So I understand what you're saying. The perfect team can lose, but if the team last year didn't lose to the Ravens, then I don't understand. I just can't see a better team losing to a worse team.
I don't think I'm out of pocket. That's for sure. Aaron, back me up here.
What, on the fact that you think the Ravens are winning? Is that what I'm backing you up on, or what am I backing you up on here?
You're backing me up on everything I've said the last 56 minutes.
Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. That's for sure. And my gut feeling is that the Chiefs are going to win. The Ravens are a great team. I don't know why, but I'm not. I think Derrick Henry will be good. I'm not like hyped about him exactly. I think he'll be a great addition and he'll make them dangerous, but he's bound to lose a step eventually. Like, yes, the main thing that makes him great is his strength, but he still has to be able to run. Like, he still has to be quick to some extent to be successful. And I'm just concerned about that. I'm going to say Chiefs win 28-24.
So I got the Ravens tonight. Carson's got the Ravens tonight. Aaron's got the Chiefs. Andrew asking a fancy question. What do y'all think about picking up Rico Dowdle as anticipation he'll be RB1? So this is a good question. I would say do not, because he's probably not. They did release the depth chart. Ezekiel Elliott was RB1 on that depth chart. They're ramping Dalvin Cook up on the practice squad. Who knows how many touches he'll get. Rico Dowdle will get some touches, but I don't think he's the guy in Dallas. But Zeke, he's getting 11 touchdowns on the ground this year.
Oh, my gosh, Michael, no, stop. That's not going to happen.
Every time I come on now, it's Zeke's getting 11 touchdowns. Zeke's getting 11 touchdowns.
He's getting 11
I'm worried that I'm not going to hear the end of it until the end of the season, and then Zeke doesn't have 11 touchdowns, and we all get to rub it in your face.
He'll have six max.
6 max? Dude, I'm hitting the over.
I mean,
not a good
I'd
back
probably
anymore.
take the over on 6, but I'm taking the under on 11 10 times out of 10.
Should have had Wayne on.
I know.
We're in Wayne in fantasy.
Look, I actually like Rico Dowdle. I think that he's gonna. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott will be RB1 for like 2 minutes. Come on, he belongs same place Mark Andrews does, a retirement home. Like, come on now.
And also, real quick, I feel like Dalvin Cook's washed at this point. I don't think he's a threat to Zeke getting touches or jumping Rico Dowdle on the depth chart. I really don't. It's also really sad to see Dalvin Cook's drop off from one of the best running backs in the league to practice squad for Dallas.
It is.
And you're saying that's a flag on play. And I'm not even saying that last part. You guys can read it on the screen if you want to.
He's washed up.
That's an out-of-pocket take.
It's an out-of-pocket take for Andrew.
No.
Golly, guys, I'm just saying I might be just a tad bit insufferable. I mean, I'll keep it cordial and out of pocket because I'm never out of pocket. But when I call you guys, when I text you guys, day in, day out, like when Zeke's totaling up these running touchdowns, I'm gonna be like, you know what? He's scoring points, and then Andrew got me, man. Andrew, you're out of pocket for 2 reasons. 1, for thinking Zika's washed up, and 2, thinking he would go to McDonald's over Chick-fil-A. Okay?
He's going somewhere.
Oh, see, and here's why. Chris said it. His capacity is a 3rd and short back or in a goal back. That's how he's going to get his touchdowns, guys. That is how he's going to get his touchdowns. So,
Yeah,
Chris,
they'll put him in on like short and goal just for him to get stuffed.
Yeah, give the ball to the 50-year-old Ezekiel Elliott instead of CeeDee Lamb. Good idea, guys. The Dallas Cowboys are taking a page out of the 2021 Lakers and only getting people who use a walker. Like, come on.
I'm done. It's 6:31. I did promise breaking news coming at the end of today's episode, and you know what? I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to kick somebody out for being out of pocket. This isn't around the horn, but we'll you know what? We're going to kick Carsen out.
No,
Carsen for being out of pocket. But you know what? We'll be friends once I rewatch your Lombardi Party. That's on Boom Broadcasting's YouTube channel. So yeah, we'll let the people watch that. But yeah, Carsen, you're kicked out until next week. Aaron, this breaking news, I gotta say, is quite the big news. People have been waiting for it for quite some time. They stayed with us even a couple minutes after time. I got places to be. People got places to be. Football's tonight. What is this breaking news? Do you have any insight on it?
I do, in fact, have a lot of insight on it. Starting this Sunday, I will have a live NFL recap show in between the 4:00 games and the Sunday night games. It will be called the Gridiron Address. So we will touch on all the panelists' favorite teams' games from the week. And to give you a little preview, week 1 guests, Boom Broadcasting President Michael Davis. I see he didn't put the full graphic up. I don't like that. I want to see the one I sent you on social media, by the way. And also we will have host of Quick Hits, Shannon Smith, on there as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. The first time I ever came on Out of Pocket was with Michael and Shannon. So those are the first 2 names that came to my mind when I thought of the show and in terms of the guests that I wanted to bring on.
Well, dude, that's absolutely incredible. Bazin saying Wednesday signing with the Commanders. We had Aikman on earlier on. If you missed it and join us halfway through, you can listen to his Washington Commanders. And he's like, when's the cooking show starting?
Okay. Well, it's happening. To be quite fully honest, I cannot buy the ingredients to make what I want to make because money, and I just moved and had to spend a lot of money on a U-Haul. So that's a little tricky. Look, we'll see how it lands when I get my next paycheck, but to be fully honest, I apologize for that. I wish I could have put it out sooner, but I kind of got my hands tied with this. I'm trying to come up with some like modified ideas so I can still put content out that will be cheaper for me to do. But I also don't want to make something that my heart really isn't in it. So I'm working on finding a balance in between that. But I should hopefully have an update early next week.
It's okay, Aaron. We still love you. So that's awesome. What doesn't love me is my lighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Gridiron Dress debuts this Sunday. Myself will be on there, hopefully in a better lighting situation. Shannon from Quick Hits will be on there. Aaron is putting a lot of work, a lot of time. And another reason he didn't get into is this has taken a lot of work. This has taken a lot of time where he's done everything he could. So Aaron Schneider, Gridiron Dress, this Sunday between your afternoon games and your primetime game will be live streaming on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. So that's why go subscribe, support us, support everything we're doing, support the people who are bringing you everything. And Out of Pocket will be back tomorrow, 5:30 to 6:30. And we're going to dive into these college football games. We're going to dive into the NFL games. So it's going to be quite the time. Can't wait to see you guys here. Dad and the boys will drop tomorrow afternoon as well. And Chris, Aaron's State of the Union address. Not the vibe he was going for, but, it works. Chris, thanks for hopping on as well. Thank you, Carsen. Thank you, Aikman. And, guys, we can't wait to see you back here on Boom Broadcasting's YouTube channel at 5:30 to 6:30 tomorrow afternoon. We'll see you then. Oh, yeah, we have this cool outro video. All right, bye, guys.
Well, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed it. We had a ball making it. Thank you very much.